Yes, Mr. Speaker, it's my pleasure to yield 5 minutes to the chair of the Homeland Security Subcommittee on Intelligence, Information Sharing, and Terrorism, the gentlelady from California, the Honorable Jane Harman.
Gentlewoman from California is recognized for 5 minutes.
I thank the Speaker and I thank the gentleman for yielding and commend our leadership for organizing this very thoughtful and sober 3-day debate on a very serious issue. Mr. Speaker, as co-chair of the Blue Dog National Security Working Group, I rise to oppose the surge and to support tough and smart security strategies, including those outlined in HRES 97, authored by the Blue Dogs, to end war profiteering, put future war costs on budget, and adopt a Truman Committee to make those who have engaged in fraud and abuse in Iraq accountable for their actions. As we conduct this historic debate, however, I am mindful that 8 time zones away, crouched in a tank somewhere in Baghdad, a 19-year-old private is doing his best to restore order to a city descending into all-out civil war. We owe this soldier, his mates, and their families so much. They volunteered to put their lives on the line to keep this country safe. We in this chamber also want to keep this country safe, but we do not share those day-to-day risks. Only a handful here have relatives in Iraq living the life of the soldier I described. Mr. Speaker, as we have sadly learned, the intelligence that took us to war was wrong. Some of the most inaccurate claims that an operational relationship existed between al-Qaeda and Saddam Hussein, that vast WMD stockpiles existed with their locations pinpointed, were presented by the administration as fact, even though the intelligence community had discredited them. That was shameful. Most intelligence agencies around the world thought, however, that Saddam had WMD and the intention to use it against his people and U.S. interests. They believed it, and so did I. But they were wrong, and so was I. The actions taken 4 years ago in Iraq created a failed state. We took out its government and occupied the country unsuccessfully. About a year later, millions of Iraqis courageously elected a government, but that government barely functions, and we continue to occupy Iraq militarily. Mr. Speaker, there are no good military options left in Iraq. To the soldier currently in harm's way, I say, you are a hero. You are doing your best to follow orders and to serve your country. But I also say, we have given you a mission impossible, and that mission must change. We have a moral obligation to leave Iraq in better shape than we found it, and that will not be achieved by surging 21,500 more troops into Baghdad. The surge will not work, and I oppose it. But abandoning Iraq is not a viable alternative. We must invest in strategies to contain and ultimately reduce violence there in order to create stability in Iraq and in the region. That must now be our focus. The Iraq Study Group made important recommendations to do this, including changing the military mission in Iraq, tying future U.S. support to measurable progress on national reconciliation, security and governance, and aggressive diplomatic outreach to Iraq's neighbors, including Syria and Iran. But this administration rejected them. 2 weeks ago, a Saban Center report by Daniel Byman and Ken Pollack carefully assessed options to contain the spillover from an Iraqi civil war. They include not trying to pick winners between the Sunnis and Shia, pulling back from population centers, providing support for Iraq's neighbors, and laying down red lines to Iran. All of these ideas have merit. Further good ideas come from David Schaefer, former U.S. Ambassador at Large for war crimes issues, to put the Iraqi government on an atrocity watch and warn its leaders that they can be prosecuted for war crimes if ethnic cleansing occurs. Mr. Speaker, the Bush administration has made calamitous mistakes in prosecuting this war. The surge, I fear, is yet another one. With this resolution, Congress starts action to force a change in strategy and to bring that soldier in downtown Baghdad and his comrades home safely and soon. I yield back the balance of my time.